One. Wow. Look at that. Episode 419 of A Squared the Show. And traveling around the world, we're back in Lebanon. Thanks, Zach, for coming again. And today we have special guest Faysal Saab. Faysal is an entrepreneur, and maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what you do in your project.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the podcast, Ali and Saeed.
Yes.
I was lucky, or we were lucky enough to have Saeed and his family coming and visiting us at the farm. So what we decided to do is to transform the family farm into an agritourism destination where people can visit us and spend time by exploring, let's say, agricultural uh, concepts and exploring the agricultural heritage that the Bekaa has to offer. So we started this project with 5 rooms 5 years ago, and in 2017, and we wanted people to come over just to spend time at the farm, seeing what kind of things we do. With the basic comfort offered. I mean, when I say basic, is really, have hot water, cold water, AC because you need air conditioning in summer, and the pools, nice, good quality food. The food is mainly it's one of our experiences. So we have our own animals on the farm that we use. We have our own orchard. We have our own vegetable and herbal garden. We do our own olives, our own rose water, etc., our own honey. So this is one of the experiences. So everything, it's a senses experiences. You go to the garden, you feel, you touch, you taste, and then you go see them how we dry the products because we have an agro workshop as well. And then you can as well see them, you see them transformed into agro workshop, and then transformed additionally into the restaurant, into the kitchen of the restaurant, and served to the clients. uh, this is it in a nutshell, but we had as well, I would say, a nice impact on the environment, well, on the community, first of all, by as well, because we are in a rural area, an area which is known historically for an agricultural background, and now transformed into a tourism destination, I would say. We receive around 4,000 clients or people per year. It's a seasonal operation which starts usually April 1st and ends mid-November. Um, and it has a really nice impact on the community because we employ mainly people from the area. The suppliers are from the area, most of them. And in addition to that, we're proud to say we're almost at zero waste as well, because usually tourism project in areas, rural areas in Lebanon, or overall in Lebanon, they don't focus, let's say, on the on the negatives and try to take it as an opportunity and change. So I would say we're almost at zero waste, which is great. When I say almost, is really few items are not, but it's not a real issue like cotton buds, like mask from COVID-19. It's really this, not more than that. Other than that, due to the energy crisis in Lebanon, so
Right.
we were forced to produce our own energy. Unfortunately, up to now, it's still fossil energy, but we're switching to solar by early next year.
Wow.
Well, yeah, so we will be, I would say, at 70% produced by solar energy and still
Oh,
30% by
wow.
diesel. Yeah. When I say 30% is mainly summer season, which is only 2 months or 3 months a year, which is June, July, August. This is where we have a lot of watering done from an irrigation point of view, and when our clients are basically using their air conditioning. So this is why we still have to have the diesel energy on, because the government is not providing us with energy. But at least the rest of the year is almost clean energy. Almost. We will have around 276 or 180 panels, each of 540 watts, and it will permit us to be totally independent. So it's nice to see that we're not the only ones doing this in Lebanon, but on a small scale, I would say maybe yes, because we only have 14 rooms. So this is it.
That's amazing. Love to, yeah, I love, nice to meet you and love to hear about your project and what you're doing. under the circumstances, and you're getting. I love that you're becoming more sustainable and stuff, and I think it adds also to the experience. You go to a place and you know that it's sustainable, and you see,
Mhm.
the farm, and you see, the solar panels, and you're like, it's independent. I think that's something people like, uh,
Mhm.
and I was curious about Said's experience because Said, you've been to that, you've been there, so I want to know. I want to hear from your perspective. What was it like to go? I
Um,
don't. What's the name of the? Is it the project?
it's Al Haush.
Al Haush.
So,
Yeah.
so if I'm not mistaken, you'd spell it as AL and then space HAUSH. Correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
So for
You know,
whoever
do you know the meaning of Al-Hosh?
Al Haush,
No.
I
Okay.
have a small faint meaning, faint understanding, but you should say it.
Well, I don't know. Do you want to say first, talk about your experience, and then I can explain it, or?
Explain the definition first. No, I think that would be more cool.
All right. It's actually, when we were thinking about a name, we were thinking about, let's say, a marketing name. Then initially, then I said, you know what? We've been going back, and every time we're saying, and we're going to Al Hosh and coming back to Al Hosh. In the Bekaa, you have around 17 or 18 different Hoshes, if you want to put it this way. The idea is the Bekaa is a flatland, agricultural land. And usually people historically were not living in a plain because it's always exposed. So they were always being attacked. I'm talking in the 19th, early 20th century. So people were living into the mountains, let it be the eastern, what you call the natural barrier between us and Syria, or Mount Lebanon. So if you look at the major historical cities, like Zahle was on the Shtora, Khirbet Anafar, these were on Mount Lebanon from the Bekaa side. And from the other, Anti-Liban, you say in French, is the Lebanese, the mountain chain separating us from Syria. You had Anjar, for example. So the plain was mainly agricultural, and there was nothing in it. So then the landlords, what they did is they grouped the people who used to work the land into small areas. And they used to call it al-Hosh, Hosh, and they used to give it different nicknames so they can differentiate them. So we are in an area called Haush al-Ghanam, but next to us there's an area called Haush Hala, which is next to Riyadh. There's another one called Haush al-Umara, and next to Zahle, Haush al-Zaran, and next to Zahle, Haush al-Snaid, which is closer to Baalbeck, etc., and etc. So it's the areas where the landlords used to group the people who works the land, and they gave them different nicknames, if you want. So when I was young, I always heard, my parents saying, "Oh, we were in Al Hosh this weekend, or we're going up to Al Hosh this weekend." So, but if you are not from the Bekaa, you just say, "Oh, Al Hosh is another village." But if you're from the Bekaa, you say, "Okay, which Hosh you're referring to?" That's the idea. And when the group, they used to group people in this area, so they created it's like a mini village, if you want. So you had, an area for washing where the ladies used to wash, another area where they used to make on the tanur, the bread, for example, etc., and etc. So this is it. So we decided to name the project Al Hosh because this is what we always heard, and it takes the proper identity of the place. So this is it.
That's such a wholesome name, to be honest, because especially once you hear the history behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty sure also when you were talking about the landlords and how they grouped the people who used to work on the farms, this and how a lot of the major cities were in the mountains, مثل Zahle. This also is related to the religious demographics that existed in the past, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it's not religious more than when you don't have a state at that time, or let's say the Ottoman state was a big
Yeah.
empire, and there are always areas which, even if you look at when Atatürk decided to move the capital from Istanbul to Ankara. This is very basic why he did this from a strategic point of view, because Istanbul, you cannot defend it. It's open from all sides. While Ankara is the cuvette between the mountains, it's easier to defend as a capital thing. It's the same thing on a smaller level, on a smaller scale. So when you have a village, which is exposed in a plain, it's easy to attack it and ruin it. While if you are in a valley between the mountains, you can defend it easily. While you can put the alarm easier because you are on a high mountain, and then you can alert the people in the valley. And if somebody's trying to attack you in the valley, you can have a point of control on the higher mountains and attack them. This is how people used to think in the 19th or the 20th century. So this is why the plain, and I think I showed you these black and white pictures, Saeed, when you were up there, where you can only see the house. That's in the 1940s. It's not a long time ago. You only had few houses in the whole plain, and one of them was my grandfather's house. So
wow.
yeah. So it's not religious. It's just the fact of to protect themselves easier from strangers or attacks, I would say.
Who because like Lebanon before مثلا the 1940s and 30s, it when it was part of the Ottoman Empire, it was Mount Lebanon, and it was just Mount Lebanon and a few areas. Yeah, mainly it was the majority of the country was Mount Lebanon. But بعدين the plains and the coastal regions, people started moving into those areas and creating new but the people that were from different lands would come in and settle there.
Yes, but it's not religious. It's mainly to defend better their areas. This is it. Why they were in the mountains, basically. Yeah. They used to take refuge into these valleys, if you want. So.
Yep, exactly.
Maybe you can share your experience now, Saeed.
My experience.
Yeah.
Well, from the start, man. At first, when we were trying to find the place, it was a bit. I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit mysterious. It's like it's not. It has a different approach to it, but it's a fun approach. I like this kind of approach for me. It's like you get there and it's like very safe. It's like secluded because you feel comfortable inside, and once you go inside, you see like, bro, it's like you're entering a new city. You're entering into this like, how can I? There's this movie where you go into Atlantis, that kind of thing, but like this is on land. So I felt like I was going into the city of Atlantis, but like on land. I was just like in an agritouristic way. It was so nice. Like I love the nights there when it was very quiet and you're sitting in this reconstructed like farmland, and it feels like a mixture of like the modern and the past put together. And I'm sitting there and it's so relaxing, and the food is amazing, bro. The food over there is so good. And I loved when you guys give us the tomatoes as we're leaving. The tomatoes alone, just like eating them just as they are, they taste so good. And there's the waters that you put also on the counter.
Yeah.
Like each one is a different experience, which makes you feel like you're at home, but in a much better home than you usually live in.
It's interesting what you just mentioned, Saeed, because what we try to do is going back to 101 tastes and from a taste bud experience. So you mentioned the tomatoes.
Yes.
It's a great example because tomatoes grown into these tents and have no taste. They're just water and texture. While these tomatoes you've tasted the taste, and you tasted several varieties. They go from the ultra sweet to the ultra acidic, and then some of them have a thicker skin, other have a lighter skin. Well, the skin of the tomato is mainly related to if you want to cook the tomatoes, roast them, do the tomato paste, etc., or you basically want to eat them raw. This is interesting. Other things, that people used to come. I mean, like you're mentioning, we forgot. Oh, is this really the taste of tomato or za'atar, or oregano, or sumac? These are ingredients in our DNA in Lebanon. I mean, who will not have a manouche with za'atar, and olive oil? These are typical ingredients from a Mediterranean diet or a Lebanese diet that, unfortunately, due to the modern way of living, we forgot the real taste of these ingredients. And what we try to do is just revive it in a very traditional way. Product cost more, yes, because we put prime. We don't mix the za'atar. It's pure oregano. It's pure sumac, for example, and pure olive oil. We don't blend them with other stuff. That's why, because when you go to supermarkets or what you call the modern trade, there's a lot of pressure on suppliers to cut costs because the modern trade or the supermarkets want to have higher margins. So this is where they start cutting corners and doing some mixing ingredients like olive oil, an extra virgin olive oil. It is an expensive product. If you want it at a lower price, you have to cut it with other vegetable oils. Same thing for sumac, you have to mix it. Same thing for za'atar, you have to mix it. So, we don't do that. And this is why our products are more expensive. And we think it makes a difference once you taste it. It's as simple as that.
How long did you stay there, Saeed, in the Haush?
It was just 2 nights, I think, but 2 nights are enough for to leave an impression.
Yeah.
I see.
Most of our clients stay on average 1 night, but some like Saeed's family and Saeed stayed 2 nights, and I think it's good. It's two nights is the right average stay at Al Haush. You don't need more than that. I mean, it is a farm at the end. Some people do enjoy staying on a farm more than that, but it's a good timing. 2 nights, I mean. So.
2 nights. I was thinking I want to stay more. I was thinking about 2 weeks. What about 2 nights? It sounds just because I feel like I'm just
do it over multiple weekends, Ali.
I don't like how noisy everything is. It's like I'm living in the city. There's a lot of smog in the air. There's a lot of noises. You can never, even at night, you can never get true silence. And that's why I love going to the mountain and visiting farms and stuff, because it brings you back to earth. And there's I feel like we're so detached from that. I feel like a lot of us are so detached from what it means to be like a human being, and going to all these places and farms and stuff. It feels I don't know. I feel like more of a connected to nature, and
it's interesting what you're saying. Ali, I was basically myself in the corporate world, and I'm not going to say I left the corporate world to do that, but it's okay. Financially, it was rewarding in a way to be in a corporate environment because the financials are there. But my soul was not happy. While now I earn less, but I'm happier, I would say. So and at least your inner self is in a more balanced way, like Saeed was saying. It's a balanced place, so it's nice, as you said as well, Ali, to get in touch back with nature, eat quality food items, etc.
Oh wow, I'm curious about your journey between the corporate world and the current world. Like what how was that for you, and what is the difference you feel? I know you said your soul was
well, the
yes.
corporate world teaches you to a lot of things. Well, first to be disciplined, work under pressure, try to be more organized, multitasking, these kind of things. Well, in a nutshell, again, and apply these tools, or if you want, or techniques that you learned into farm life, let's say. So I come as well from a hospitality background historically, or a customer service background. So customer service is as well very important, and apply it in an environment this way. Well, we try to basically apply what's normal in the US, let's say, but not normal in Lebanon these days, which is in terms of customer service, professionalism, etc. And we're making a difference, I would say, especially in an area like the Bekaa, because we're just playing it, right from a professionalism point of view. If I'm not able to deliver, I just say I cannot take it. I take the job. I cannot do that. As simple as that. And you should not be scared to say no to the client. Because at the end, the bottom line is You need customer satisfaction. So a lot of clients just tell me why. Some people, Lebanese are a bit, they have an ego issue as well. So, so you can say, who do you think you are not to take me for a coffee or for lunch or whatever, and I just say, hold on. I mean, I am as an owner, opening my house. So you need, first of all, to have my blessing to come into my house in a way.
Mhm.
It's not a public property. It's not a hotel. It's not a resort. It's not a cafe or a restaurant. So when you come to this place, my infrastructure or setup doesn't permit me to take more than a certain number. So if I'm having 35 people sleeping in my place, I cannot take an extra 50 people from outside just because they want to have a coffee. It's impossible. I don't have the space. And I want the people who, paid the premium price to be at ease, to be comfortable enough to work at night with not having 30, 40 people running around, loud music. Other people, again, they come in, they don't have any value for etiquette or how to behave in a public space or a public area. So for example, they just come in, imagine having their own music, and they want to play loud music by the pool or play ball or water polo in the pool, where you have others just enjoying the pool. um, it's a difficult balance, as Saeed was saying as well. Uh, but you have to. I mean, if you cannot deliver, just say you cannot do it, and don't be afraid by saying no, even if people think you're rude. Culturally, and in the Levant, let's say, or the Arab world, if you say no, that means you're rude. They expect you to say maybe, and then come back to them with a no. So if you say directly no, they think you're abrupt. Also, this is the idea.
Oh wow. I'm curious about like your journey and how I want to know a little bit more about when you first started with it. And like I have so many business ideas. Saeed always comes in, he's like, what about, why don't we do an app? Why don't we do this? Whatever business ideas. And I'm curious to you, like, how did you know that the business, like the idea you had could be something that could be a real reality? Because you said it hasn't been that case for so long, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is where my corporate world experience came into. Uh, uh, it was a good help for that. What I'm trying to say is, I mean, I can feel and I can notice, and then you can start analyzing that there was a need for authentic experiences. Uh, let's say it's a new trend in Lebanon, but not that new in Europe, for example. People. Well, let me ask you a question. What differentiates a hotel from another hotel? I'm talking hotels, not guest house.
Yes, I would say for me, I think it's about the experience. I think it's like what are the things I get to do there. I think the best hotels I can remember are like going to a beautiful beach and having amazing food and it looking very luxurious and or like older and like it
For me,
being unique too.
I think those are like what attracts you to go there, but what keeps you there is probably the customer care,
Mm.
customer
Absolutely.
service.
Well, I think I agree with you, Saeed. I think as well as if you go to these basic, business hotels, I'm not gonna. There are a lot of them, loads of them, especially in
Mm.
the U.S. If you go from one city, if you travel a lot, from one city to another, because I used to be a frequent traveler, for example. So what makes me stay in a hotel chain versus another, uh, not from an experience point of view, but from a commodity point of view, was just a loyalty program, simply. Again, customer service, as you said, Saeed, because if they're offering me more points, that means I'm going to get, free rooms, free beer,
Mm.
late checkouts, being on the executive floor, etc. So this is. So what we tried to do here, what happened is, because you asked me how it became a reality, is we noticed that there's a shift in consumer behavior, especially from what you call the millennials and onwards, that these people are more looking for authentic experiences. That's why actually most of my clients are between 25 and 35, if you want,
Oh wow.
and
Hmm.
mostly ladies. So they're looking for authentic experience, especially people living in the Gulf. from all nationalities, because we don't only receive Lebanese, we have a lot of people from other nationalities. They're looking for authentic experiences, revival in a way of tastes they lost, like what we spoke, tomatoes, za'atar, sumac, etc. So, and I had this farm, and I said, why can't I just, turn it from a nice retirement house for my parents to a busy beehive receiving, let's say, people from abroad experiencing it, sharing it, opening my house to the people and sharing what I lived as a child, if you want, because there is a need, and the proof is that it's successful. But it's not only about the product you create, it's as well about what Saeed said and you said, Ali, experiences, because we have a lot of experiences, like you said, Ali. So we have the agro workshop, we have the animal feeding time, we have the visit of the vegetable garden. You can go for in the boutique. It's a sense. It's an experience by itself, because you can smell all these different herbs that you check them fresh into the garden, and then we process them in the boutique. So the restaurant, these are all experiences that are unique to the place. There are very few agritourism projects on this scale in Lebanon, frankly. And the second aspect is what Saeed said, or the second pillar of the equation is what Saeed said, is customer care and personalized service. If you're going to grow the business to have maybe 25, 30 rooms, you cannot offer a personalized service anymore as well. So this is why my rates are as well on a higher side, because it's me as an owner who's serving the clients. And don't get me wrong, I do it with pleasure, because this is what I like doing. And I think, so this customer service that Saeed mentioned, and the unique product/experiences that you have in the place makes it unique. I don't have high-end rooms, by the way. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I have a lot of clients from the Gulf coming expecting, let's say, seeing high-end Dubai-style rooms. It's not there. I always remind them, you are on a farm. If you wanted a Relais Chateau or a Four Seasons experience, is not the place to be in. You come for the farm life with the comfort there, but focusing on these two pillars we mentioned, the experiences and the customer care.
So you've had people be like that to you, like expecting a different and and how do they leave? Like, what are their opinions after they leave?
It's a very valid question. I mean, look, when we started, we were very low-key, word of mouth type of destination, a bit like how your mother came to us through a friend. And let's say maybe what Saeed likes, I don't know, I like wearing, for example, pink shirts. Maybe Ali is going to tell me, what is that? I like, by the way, Ali, I love your shirt, so don't get me wrong.
Ace Ventura. Yeah, exactly.
So, some people can find your shirt, okay, it's very Californian, okay, so, but I mean, you can't wear, for example, this in Lebanon.
Right.
Just kidding. You know what I mean. So
I understand what you're saying. My mom's like, why are you wearing that? Yeah, exactly.
What I'm trying to tell you is a product, it's very taste is very subjective. What Ali likes is different than what Saeed likes or Faysal likes. So some people are going to say, oh, this is beautiful, Al-Haush is beautiful, it's the place for us, etc. Others are just going to say no. They were expecting a niche type of experience, and which we can't, it's not what we offer, simply, So, yeah.
Do their opinions change by the end of the experience, or do they stay the same?
Again, very valid question. Some do. No, I will tell you what changed. The people who come for a Relais Chateau experience, they will not be satisfied. Bottom line, they say, okay, it's a nice place, but it's not for us, and I understand from this perspective.
They're not really open. Would you say they're not open-minded? And that's the reason?
No. In this case, because they're expecting something specific, and you don't offer it. I don't have high-end chairs. I'm not a luxury destination. I am a comfortable farm destination. When people expect luxury and they don't find it, then they are, deceived in a way. But where we do make a difference, I will tell you, Saeed, is a lot of people before coming to our place think we are expensive, meaning that we charge a lot. But when they come and see how we are, because Saeed have seen, we have an open station at the reception serving coffee, teas, the syrups that Saeed mentioned, some fruits. And, when you leave, you have the small gift from the garden.
The
And
rose
then
water was addictive, to be honest.
yeah, and then you have all these experiences. Most of the experiences are included in the price, and they see the scale of the landscaping and the space, how big it is. They say, "Oh, hold on, now it justifies the price." It's not that it's a small house in the village, No, it is a big farm, So this is where people change their opinion usually.
Mm-hmm. And I'm curious, in going through this journey of making it happen, what was something that surprised you about it, or a challenge that you didn't expect, or what was the harder part
Well,
of getting it going?
well, let me talk about the positives first. I mean,
Yes.
I was not expecting, for example, support from the local communities the way we got. Uh, we had some challenges with the banking sector, because, well, obviously they collapsed now. But at that time, we were trying to take some funding, if you want, and it was such a complication. At the end, you say, you know what, better to put your own money than get it funded by the bank. But anyway, we got it funded. It's not a problem, but it took a lot of time and effort for that. And I had an issue with, well, due to this, let's say, delay in funding, and I launched already the suppliers to produce on, a handshake, because it works still this way in this part of the world. And when we had this challenge, I went and spoke to the suppliers. All of them understood the situation very well, and they were extremely responsive. And all of these people delivered on time, honestly, delivered on time. And this is where you say, you don't have to be a professionally formatted corporate person to, deliver. You can be a small business owner in a small rural village and still deliver.
Wow.
And most of them, of course, not all of them, most of them delivered, and they felt not a client-supplier relationship, but a partnership relationship. And this is how business should be, by the way. We are a social enterprise as well beforehand. And this surprised me positively, because these people in rural areas were never given the opportunities. And when you have someone coming, trying to make a difference and succeeding by getting these, this customer base or the flowing to this rural area, and they support you, this is a great achievement, I would say. So it's very self-satisfactory, I would say. So
yeah, I love to hear it. It's inspiring. Yeah, especially to younger people, I can imagine.
I think that's a very good tip for people to know, like, if they want to go into business, it's very important the relationships you make, and the partnerships you develop with, other businesses, if you want to become successful yourself.
And you're building an ecosystem as well. When I say you're building an ecosystem, it's not only related to it's your own ecosystem, but I mean, people working, you cannot do it by yourself. You need people around
exactly.
you. And there's a capital. Okay, there is the funds, meaning financial funds injected in a project or whatever. But as well, there's what we always forget: the human capital point of view. It's called human capital for a reason. And more and more, another point of success, I would say, especially in the Arab world, when they say you're mudir or arbab in the Gulf, so you are, the big boss, and you just sit behind your desk and, give, theoretical approaches to business. You cannot do it this way. You have to lead by example, and this is where your team will follow. I have a seasonal team, and if they don't see me or Sarah, my wife, or my mom working, they will not be motivated. So they say, oh, if they are doing it, that means my job is not as well. I'm not saying they feel threatened, but they feel first of all motivated, and then they say, "Oh, if they know how to do the job, I cannot play around as well." So um, it's a combination of. I'm taking it from an employee perspective, saying, "Okay, these guys are serious. I owe them respect because they work by their own hands as well, and this is how your team will follow." And I don't know, Saeed, if you remember, most of the clients tell me you have an incredible team, and this team, why, is because they are just you lead by example. You're there next to them, you work with them, you pay them more because all the crisis, what's happening, you have to pay them more, so they keep on going as well. As I said, I charge higher so I can as well pay my team higher as well. So
yeah, of course. And we are kind of wrapping out of time soon. Said, I don't know if you have a question you want to ask before we wrap.
No, I'm good. I think the final question should go to you, Ali.
Yes.
I've been there and I had my experience.
My question is, what would you give advice to like a younger person who's entrepreneurial minded in Lebanon? And what would you say?
Look, in Lebanon or anywhere in the world, in Lebanon, making it's again more difficult because you have much more challenges than any other locations. But from time to time, okay, you have to do the basics in terms of research, etc. But just again, throw yourself into the water, I would say, and then learn how to swim, or learn the basics, let's say, and then throw yourself into the water. You may succeed directly, you may not succeed. I had 3-4 failures or 5 failures in my life before I succeeded. It's only never lose hope and focus. Learn the basics, be humble, and always be humble, and be like a sponge by taking all the information, and because information is power, and this is how you can analyze things and be able to develop projects or whatever. And by these basics, you can move forward and create your own small empire, I would say, at your small Atlantis city, as Said said,
Wow, how beautiful. All right. Well, thank you very much, Faysal. It was really appreciate your time here. You can go check out the Haush and their website. And where else can people find you?
Sorry, it cut.
How can people find more about the Haush?
On our website, or on our social media platforms. Our website is alhaush, alhaush.com. You can from there see all our social media icons. We're very strong on Instagram. We have a big community on Instagram. It's al_HAUSH. We are as well on Facebook, Twitter, etc. We have a LinkedIn profile as well. So we're available everywhere.
Fully equipped.
Hey, thank you so much for your time, Faysal. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Sign out.
Bye, guys.
Adios.
Bye. Adios. Bye.